Hello everybody, my name is Emily Wilson and I will be diagnosing Finn the Human from Adventure Time. Now, who is Finn? In the series, he is a boy between the ages of 12 and 16 years old. Not much is known about his past, but when he was a baby, he was found in the woods by a dog couple, and they decided to adopt him into their family. With his new adopted family, he had a dog brother named Jack, and Finn grew up with their morals, values, and culture. With these morals, he grew up learning how to help those in need and fighting off evil. His basic moral code was to be a hero and fight for the right things. However, throughout the series, he realizes he is the only human in the region and begins having these urges to learn more about where he came from. One major instance that caused Finn to start changing his perspective of life was the day he met his father. He realized his father became a criminal and did not seem to care for Finn's well-being. This stirred up anger in Finn, causing him to fight and argue with his father. At the end of the fight scene, Finn's father escapes into another dimension, and Finn loses his arm in the process. Because of this happening, by assessing the way his father treated him, this is when he started to act differently. The diagnosis that I have assessed Finn to have is borderline personality disorder. Now, under the DSM classification 301.83 F60.3, it is a pervasive pattern of instability of interpersonal relationships, self-image, and effects, and marked impulsivity, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contents, as included by 5 or more of the 9 following: frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment, unstable relationships, unstable self-image or self-sense, impulsivity that is self-damaging, recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures, or threats, affective instability, chronic feelings of emptiness, intense inappropriate anger, and paranoid or dissociative symptoms. There are 2 examples that Finn shows borderline personality disorder, and that is having unstable relationships and having chronic feelings of emptiness. An example of his unstable relationship is when he first meets a girl named Flame Princess. He has an immediate impulsivity of being in a relationship with her and tries to interact with her as much as he can, despite his brother Jake and Flame Princess telling him to stay away from her. With multiple attempts of trying to woo her, she accepts to be in a relationship with him, and he does everything in his power to spend as much time with her as possible. Unfortunately, because she is a princess, she has royal duties and can't be with him all the time. Finn doesn't like where that relationship is going, and ends up finding entertainment for himself by manipulating her to use her fire powers to fight someone in order to feel like she still loves him. An example of having chronic feelings of emptiness: after losing his arm from his father, Finn goes into this state where everything means nothing to him, and he feels like he has no feeling. There even comes to a point where he impulsively tries to build a tower into the sky to try to reach the other dimension his father is in. Although he is clearly angered by what his father did to him, he seems to have no emotion while building the tower, and he even tells someone who is passing by him that he is not sure how to explain how he feels, and that he kind of feels like he's feeling nothing. There's another instance where he visits the doctor, and he states to her that he feels nothing. He even explains to her that he's gonna kiss a bunch of girls to try to get some type of feeling back. Some missing symptoms that Finn does not show in borderline personality is unstable self-image or sense of self. Now, Finn is able to still understand who he is, what he is, and understand good from bad. So, there is no problem with understanding anger towards himself or anything. As far as the treatment, talk therapy should be the first step taken into finding a way to recover from his problems. His brother Jake tries to implement this by always trying to help him feel better and always does his best to try to understand how Finn feels. However, the only problem with this is that Jake is not a legal therapist, and in their world, there really isn't anybody psychological to go to. Although in their world there's not a lot of psychological care, there are still doctors he can talk to, such as the one I gave an example earlier, and they can provide him any kind of therapy involving understanding how he feels and being able to identify his emotions towards people or himself. Another example is self-care activities, such as where he can exercise, have better sleep habits, eat better, or just have some kind of stress management that he can handle. The only ethical concern with this is he kind of already does this with being a hero and trying to save people. He's always trying to help other people, so it can't really be affected since he's already doing this. Although this series is based in an unrealistic future, the symptoms are pretty relatable to how they would be in real life. The only problem is with borderline personality disorder, it can be hard to tell if someone actually has this disorder, because it was especially difficult due to the world Finn grew up in that was hard to pinpoint this disorder. Due to the lack of actual human contact Finn had, that might have been a set-off point for Finn to actually start this borderline personality disorder, since he grew up with candy people and he actually never really got a chance to be who he really was, a human. Now, in the series, it gave some light into Finn's world and how he handled certain situations. It makes us see that everyone is not perfect, even if you are trying to be a hero like Finn. Even though it was never diagnosed in the theories that he had this disorder, it was the fact that his family and friends were always trying to help him, and it makes us realize that problems like borderline personality disorder shouldn't be taken lightly, and that these disorders are in fact real in the real world.